So, Ty, here we are again, ready to roll. And I got a question for you. Have you ever been riding out, maybe you and your family, and you see these little cats on the street, like at Walmart on the side when you going out the parking lot, with the little cardboard sign saying, you know, can you spare some money, or I'm hungry, I haven't eaten in such and such. And they don't want the money. Nope. I mean, they don't want the food. They want you to give them your coins.
They want your money. Yeah.
Now, did your money come easy to you?
Nothing comes easy.
Nothing comes. That's what we want to talk about. You hit it on the head. Nothing comes easy. That's worth having.
Nothing comes easy. Yeah. So we're going to go ahead and start the podcast.
Let's get in it. So I was thinking like a job. Say you've been out of a job. You know, that happens from time to time. You be transitioning from one place to another. You know, I remember when my daughter had finished college and she was looking into joining the force, right? And I'm like, okay, Bree, if you in it, I'm in it. And so then she had to go through the police academy. Time will tell you something. Every step she took, I took it with her because it was so hard.
It was hard. Yeah, I believe it.
It was so hard. She had to run. None of us are no runners now. We all are known for being writers. You know, we are not physical people. And for her to do that, I had so much respect and all because that was hard. I mean, she lost weight, everything. And when she would call me about it every night and we would talk. And I'm like, Bree, just hang in there. You know, just take one day at a time. They had to do the driving, going on or how fast backwards. And then she had to, you know, like I said, run, getting over hurdles, fighting the red man. And it was a lot of stress for me because I knew that she was going through one of the hardest things she had ever went through in her life. And she wanted to be a policewoman. And it did not come easy.
Nothing.
And every night, like I said, we would talk and look like my heart would just break because she know her shins was hurting. And, you know, she had them. Well, Mama, they turned the line around for me today so I could come in first. I said, Bree, they want you. So what you need to do is hang in there. It's not easy, but it's doable. You can do this. And she did do it. So that's almost been 10 years ago. But now it was not easy. But it was doable. So that was just one of the things that came to my mind. We were talking about nothing comes easy. That police academy was something. I asked her. I said, well, do you think you're going to the FBI? She said, Mama, not if they got an academy, I won't be going to the FBI. So that just lets you know, if you want something bad enough, even though it's not easy, it's doable. Because nothing worthwhile come easy.
And after you attain whatever it is you're trying to attain, you will have a little bit more respect and pride for your own self.
For sure.
And of course, you'll get others' respect too, like how you're talking about right now, somebody going through something, and then after you saw them go through it, you have the utmost respect for them. That is what happens a lot of times. Once you see people go through the struggles and their trials and tribulations, you actually get admiration for them.
I did.
And we see this a lot in life. So now if someone just got it easy, someone just said they wanted to be something or do something, and you didn't see them go through what you saw like your daughter go through, you might not give them as much as I don't want to say respect, but because you don't know their story, you might not be moved as much by that, because like that's something that all officers probably got to go through, right?
Yes.
So like when you actually see it and you actually know that someone put in that hard work, you respect them a whole lot more.
Yes.
And I see that on the job too. For example, on the job, when you get a new supervisor or someone and you don't know if that person actually put in the work to get there, or they just were promoted to that spot, right? And then you're looking at them like, man, this dude don't know what work is. He got handed it because his dad is the lead general foreman, and you looking at him like, you ain't work hard for it, and you respect them less,
and they don't appreciate it. I have seen that happen time and time again. If you give somebody something, like maybe you buy somebody a car or a lot of toys or whatnot, they're gonna be strode everywhere
because they didn't have to work for it.
Exactly.
A lot of times when someone has to work for it, they appreciate it more.
Take care of it.
I know for a fact, back when I bought my first car, man, you know, after you buy it, you go out there and you're washing it every day, and of course eventually
shaking the mats off.
Eventually it get old and you don't wash it as much. But when you buy it, you got a whole lot more respect for it. You have a whole lot more of that
affinity.
And you feel accomplished.
Yes.
Like, I did that. So
I did this.
Going through stuff and putting in that work.
Put that work in. That's what we wanted to talk about with this Nothing Come In. You got to put the work in.
You got to put the work in.
Because I was thinking about even getting a job. You know, people will say, falsehood. God just going to give me a job. No. God provides an opportunity for you to get a job. You got to move. You got to get the hands and feet, the mind working. And you got to get on the phone and you got to get on these new things that everybody got. You got to find your way. Now, God's going to provide an opportunity for you. But, you are your vehicle.
You have to put in that work.
Where your mind go, we already established. Where your mind go, your body follows. So if you sitting there on the bed and you sleeping at 1 o'clock in the evening, you ain't looking for no job. And you just can't say, God gonna give me a job. No, God's giving you opportunity to get up, put your clothes on, get out in them streets, and look for a job. And I mean, don't even expect to get the highest paid. That's what gets me. You can get a kid just fresh out of high school, and they want the highest thing. Their mind ain't on, like, working through. I'm sure when you work on your job, you went up through the ranks. Nobody didn't just sit you nowhere.
No, you already know it.
Because it's not worth having if somebody just gonna give it to you.
Yeah, and you might not know how to handle that position if you just put there and you don't go through the ranks.
And I bet you can tell me every in and out about a ship. But if somebody just set you up on the top spot, you ain't gonna know what you talking about when you tell me, well, Ty, what is this part of the ship called? What is that part of the ship called? And I think that we do ourselves a disservice when we try to do it the easy way, because the easy way is not always the best way.
Yeah, and then speaking of the easy ways, so again, nothing comes easy. Now I want to touch on something, health. We're gonna go to the health, but
there we go.
Let's see. The person that, if you want to be prime in health and you want to look like a bodybuilder or somebody on Baywatch, you got to put in that work.
You got to put that work in. You got to understand,
when you see these guys on TV and they have, oh man, he got a banger. You got to understand that guy get up every morning probably. Eat right, but he got to put hours in at the gym. Mandatory. Those actors that have those actor bodies, to keep that, they have to be in a certain condition all year. So
every day
they gotta make sure they going out there running every day. They gotta make sure that they going hitting the gym once, maybe twice, depends on their job, because I guess if you paid to look like that, you probably can't.
It's gonna have to be multiple. Like 8 hours a day at least.
But you're gonna have to put in some work to keep your stature. So now we ain't movie stars, but if you want to be healthy, fit, you have to put in that work. You can't sit around saying, man, I wish I looked like that, and you don't even do push-ups. You don't even
eat right.
You don't even try to get any type of exercise, but you like, man, I wish I could look like that. You got to put in that work.
And if you want it bad enough, you gonna put in that, what we call it, WERK, work.
You gonna put in that work. I see people, especially doing now our time, it's like you almost can pay for any dang on thing. You can actually pay for people to put muscles in you.
What?
Yes, I've seen it. So like, if you don't want to put in the work,
I don't think I want to.
You can get some plastic surgery, just like women get implants. In their derriere and breasts. Yeah, you can get implants.
You gonna get you some pecs, Ty?
No, I ain't doing all that. You ain't cutting me open for nothing. I only like going to the doctor when I need to go to the doctor. Like get stuck. You talking about putting something in me to get pecs?
And then it might burst, and then you got other health problems from that.
It definitely can happen. So that's what can happen when you don't put in the work. So. Just like I see women, I know they go out there and they get their implants. I'm a man, so I just gonna say what I see. I see it's two types. It's some that go and get the implants, and then it's some women that go and work out in the gym and actually get their muscles right. And that's straight them from the gym.
The muscle under
they
the
do the squats and they sit there and
press that bench.
They actually go out there and do it, and they get it naturally.
Yeah.
So you can put in the work and get that shape or figure that you want.
Or you can let the surgeon put the work in.
Or you can let the surgeon put it in. So for women and men, that is pros and cons. But of course, if you do it naturally, if you do it and do it the right way, you're gonna feel better about yourself when you do it.
I think it'll be better in the long run too.
Better
in
your health. Yeah. And your pockets.
Yeah. And you know what else Ty was thinking about putting in work? Raising kids.
Mm-hmm.
Now see, I'm not in that groove now. I'm just observing the grandkids now. I'm at the good stage.
Mm-hmm.
But I see how hard you and your wife work to raise your kids. You up early in the morning, taking them to school, buying clothes, showing them how to do. I mean, spending time with the children. Just throwing them in a corner and say, "You look, do this." I see hands-on, nitty-gritty. Throw up on your clothes, pure the work.
Yeah, you gotta put in the work with the kids.
Because if you don't put the work in when they're young, you're not going to get what you want out of them as a citizen when they get older, because it's like a tree. Now, you can go out there and get a little sapling from an oak tree. When the acorns drop, they'll put forth little saplings. So you can bend that thing, and you can break it, you can snap it, you can roll it. But now, if you don't put the work in your kids, once that tree grow up, you can't do nothing with it.
Nothing with it.
Nothing with it. It'll throw you out your own house. And you ain't gonna have that.
And you can't just whatever you do in your household is your business, but I would like to say you can't just provide. So some people think being a parent is, especially guys that don't be with the same woman that you had kids with. Like I said, everybody's household is different, but you got to understand that you can't just provide.
Be in your child's life.
It's more than being a parent than just providing. And I see people, that live in the house with their kids and they just provide.
Just think that the mother's supposed to do it all. Now it would be different if she won't going out working as well. But mama putting in work outside the house with a full-time job, so she shouldn't have to come in. And this is just my opinion. See if you agree. If not, let us know. But I just don't think that the woman that's working outside her home needs to be doing everything inside the home with the children, because that'll start resentment. And resentment leads to dislike. And dislike just leads to flat out, I just can't stand you no more. You ain't doing nothing for me. And we don't want that.
I agree. But you also, like I said, both parents got to understand that too. Because I know certain parents that, just provide. Their kids do whatever they want to do, as long as they feed them, they give them what they want, they give them shelter. And especially when they start getting in that teenage phase, like when they're small, we gotta be there with them. We gotta make sure they don't get the bumps and bruises, don't bust their head on something. So we're there with them a lot. But once they turn teenager, a lot of times they go on in their room and they do them.
What mama used to say, "Time I'll give you an old one." I didn't want to break in on you, but I gotta do it before I forget it. Mama used to say about children, she said, when they're young, they are around your feet. And then when they get older, they're around your heart. So what you do when they're young it's going to make a big difference when they get older.
I got you. So again, you gotta pay attention to that, because you don't want to just not be doing things with your kids. They go off in their room. You still gotta be in their life, because you might not think it, but they still need you. They still need that guidance. They are not adults, and if they are that teenage about to be adults, they still need guidance to see how to make it out there. So just a tip, coming from me, make sure you actually in your kids' life, even if they get older, you gotta still show them the way.
I still miss my mom. I'm almost 60, and I still remember most of the things my mama taught me. So it pays off. You get out what you put in anything. If you have raising a child, it's gonna show. Everybody's gonna know, and the bill's gonna come due. You might not be paying attention to them now, but it's gonna come a time when you're gonna have to, because you be in court. They were running with the wrong people. And this is what this work is about when they're little.
Yep. So put in the work with your kids too, so it can pay off for them and yourself. Like I said, you don't be stressed out about what they're doing. If you know that you put in that work and raise your kids right, you don't got nothing to worry about. You feel a little better when you let them on and go out into the world. So put in that work.
Yeah, nobody's perfect. Nobody's a perfect parent. But one thing that my daddy used to say was, they didn't ask to be here. You decided to bring that life into the world. So you got a responsibility towards it. You got to take an account for what your children do until they get grown. And even when they get grown, they'll still be learning from what you taught them when they were young. So it never ends. I'm still doing the things that my mom taught me how to do years ago. So that's a bond that never ever ends. So just remember that when you have children, be in their life. Nobody's trying to tell nobody how to raise their kids, but we're just saying it's work.
Put in that work. That's it. Work in there. That's all we want to say. Put that work in to raise them however you want to do, but make sure you put in the work and actually take the time with them.
Be present with them.
Be present.
Go to their games. Go to their soccer game. Go to the cheerleading. Go to their basketball game. Go to the PTA. Nobody's perfect, but you can work towards it. That's what we're supposed to be doing with our life, working towards perfection. Nobody is going to ever be perfect in this world. But the Bible say you can work towards that, because nothing comes easy. The days are not easy, getting up early in the morning, going out with the children, staying up all night with a fever, going out in the midnight with a earache. It's work. So know that before you decide to bring a child into the world, it's work.
And success. If you want to achieve success, that's a big one, especially I like to talk about it. I know on the podcast that I host, make sure you actually put in the work to get to success. People don't just wake up and be successful. People don't just wake up and be rich. Unless you just get something handed down to you, which you might not even respect it, like we said at the beginning, if you didn't have to work for it. So make sure that you put in the work to be successful in anything you're trying to do. If you're trying to go back to school, guess what? You got to make sure you hit those books, put in that work, study to be successful. You want to be a millionaire? Guess what? You better learn and do some reading and learn how to get $1 million so you can be successful. You got to put in the work.
And a millionaire is not lazy.
It's not. They're not. And a lot of times people take for granted. When you see somebody that has money that is successful, are you really willing to put in that work to get there? Like I said, a lot of millionaires, they have really
7 sources. I heard Shawnee O'Neal say most millionaires have 7 sources of income.
That means 7 different jobs.
They ain't trying to do that. But I'm happy that there are people like that. So if that's what you aspire to do, you got an example, and you know you got to work.
You got to put in that work. A lot of times people think everything comes easy. I can get it, and I'm going to get there, and I just want to enjoy the money. Guess what? It's a lot that comes with that. You know, it might be staying up late, these late night. Just think about basketball players and things like that. Guess how much time? I know I used to see Kobe. He said he used to play and practice after every game, especially if he had a game that he lost. He was in the gym practicing to make sure next time he improves in the game. He was just practicing and practicing, especially if you want to be an athlete. That's what it takes. It takes you to put in that work, and that's what anything. You can be great at anything, but you have to put in that work.
And you know what, Ty, I think when you have people watching and saying, you know, I wish I could do that, they don't realize that work is going into that. You know, it's making it look easy, because if you're doing something that you love to do and you are prospering from it, of course you're making it look easy, because that's what you love to do. But don't think for a minute that they are not spending nights and days putting that work in.
And a lot of times people talk about rappers and things like that. Man, I wish I could do it. But the life of someone that's recording, you see, you hear stories like how Kanye or Jay-Z, they used to go, like when they made Watch the Throne, they said, man, they spent months working on it, locked up in wherever they were in the studio. They just went away for months and just was recording. It's work to go into that stuff.
And you know, the average person ain't trying to do that.
The average person, if you are the average person, you don't have time to do that.
You don't have time to do it.
If you got kids, if you got a 9-to-5 job, you can't put in that type of work that some of those guys do. But that just shows you the dedication that they put in. They actually are working. We might see the rappers and you're like, man, he just got a lot of money and all of that. But those guys, when it's actually time to perform and put in work for their craft, they spend hours on hours doing it. I know some up and coming rappers, some local rappers that they're trying to make it, and I just listen to them. They're like, man, it just take a lot. I gotta stay in the studio to do this and this and this. But again, that's what it takes. That's what it takes. If you want to make it big, you gotta put in that work. And I know that's just what you gotta do. I was about to talk.
You know, I was gonna tell you about Beyonce. You know, Beyonce can do some crazy stuff in her concerts, and she make it look easy. She get up on a trapeze.
On the trapeze.
And she flip over and over, and then she come out on a perfect pose every time. Can you imagine how many times she practiced that to make it look perfect? And you know, I'm saying, I wouldn't want to be Beyonce. Beyonce work hard.
Yeah.
I don't even have the capacity to even go watch Beyonce.
And what people don't realize is, so she might do what, like 50 shows? I don't know.
Yeah, I respect that.
If she doing, this is random, if she doing like 50 shows in like 2-3 months or something like that, you know how many practices that is for those 50 shows? And
then she still go back and get in the studio between shows, and she making appearances while she on tour.
See what I'm saying?
She putting that work in.
Yeah, for every 10 shows, you might have 10 practices.
You know what, Ty, I'm coming to think that being a millionaire is too much work. I'm thinking too much work, baby.
That's what I'm saying. You gotta actually have that drive, and you know, eventually you might slow down, you know, if you're a millionaire. But either way, what we're talking about is making sure you put in that work.
Nothing comes easy. And I was thinking about, you know, I like to plant flowers. I do. Every little piece of dirt I got, I'll get out there and scratch around and try to make a flower. But it's not easy.
It's not.
You know, first you gotta break up your ground, then you gotta add your dirt, you gotta amend your soil, then you gotta add your mulch, then you gotta get your flowers, you put them in as seedlings, and you gotta watch over them, because the first few days you gotta water every day. And then you got to make sure the deer stay away. You got spraying deer stuff, you know. It's not easy.
It's not.
You know, people say, oh, your flowers are beautiful, but you know, it was a little work. in them flowers. You know,
There's
I'm
some work
glad
in
you
there.
coming by looking. I plant them for myself. But, you know, I don't mind people coming by and sharing in there, but just know that it's not easy.
It's not easy to work.
Not easy.
Work.
Even like one thing I wanted you to talk about was like overcoming addictions and illnesses. You know, you don't have to die every time you might have an illness. Because I had breast cancer. I just talk about me.
That's definitely work.
It was work. I had to go to radiation for several days. I mean, one day after the other. Had to get surgery. And I know a lot of people have to do chemotherapy one day after the other. Then you got to do immunotherapy sometime. And all this time, you fighting for your life. It didn't come easy. Sitting here talking to you today did not come easy. It was a lot of praying and up and down the road and doing what the doctor say. And, it didn't come easy. And I know I wasn't alone in it, but still, I had to get up.
Yeah. But you put in that work and it paid off.
Because I'm not a early morning person. But it looked like all of my radiations was like between 7 and 8. And that was hard for me.
I already know it.
But I had to put that work in because I wanted to be well.
And like I said, it pays off, and you feeling good.
I'm
and
feeling
look where we at now.
Hanging in here, and
that's what I'm talking
living
about.
life like it's golden.
When you put in that work, it can pay off.
Yeah, now like addictions, I haven't struggled with addiction, but I've had things that was hard to overcome, and I just wanted to say that about addiction. I know it won't be easy. If it was easy, you would keep going back, but once you struggle and get out of that place, that dark place, I feel like that's why you won't go back, because you know how hard it was.
How hard it was.
And how dark it was.
Yeah, how far you come. I just posted a post. Before you quit anything, a lot of times you got to stop and look how far you've come.
Yeah.
Look how much work you've put in. And then even go a step further and look at how much support you had along the way too. If you look back and you see all of that, more like you ain't gonna quit.
You won't go backwards.
You gonna keep it going.
Just keep pressing, because life is a journey. Life is not a trip around the block. You're gonna have ups. You're gonna have downs. Like a marriage. Marriage is a journey. It's the lovey-dovey time. It's the honeymoon phase. It's the down, gritty, knitted, dirty phase. But it's just hanging in there, waking up every day, making a decision. I'm going to make my marriage work. Same thing with an addiction. I'm not going to turn around. Every day you get up with the same mindset. I'm going to get through this. I'm going to keep going. I'm not going to give up. It don't come easy. And once you get that in your mind, it's supposed to be hard. Because if it come easy, anybody could do it.
Anybody could do it.
And if it come easy, you will still be getting tripped up. But once you put some work into something, and like we was talking about at the first of the podcast with my daughter and the police academy, we probably still got anxiety over that now. That's how hard that joint was. Because I ran every step she ran, and it's hard. Even in supporting someone that's going through, it's not easy. Because you feel everything that they feel. You don't go through what they're going through, but you feel it, in your spirit. You don't want them to hurt, and you just trying to walk with them. And that's not easy. Sometimes you don't feel good yourself, but you still get up and walk with your person because you want to be that support for them. And so that's what Ty and I are just trying to say. Anything that's worth having is worth working for.
Working for, put in that work.
Put in that work. That's all we saying.
Put in that work. So we appreciate y'all checking us out. Make sure you guys let us know if you trying to put in some work, or if you're trying to overcome something, if you're trying to get better at something, if you're trying to be successful. Let us know in the comments, and we talk back.
Or even if you don't agree, something, we want to hear that too, because sometimes that's how you learn.
Yep.
Somebody else's point of view.
Yep. So we appreciate y'all checking us out. Peace out.
That's a wrap.